I'm 43 years old. You may not be able to tell by looking at me because I'm in way better shape than almost all of you. However, over the last 43 years, I've accumulated a lot of knowledge that has helped me become wealthy, multimillionaire, successful, thriving businesses, fantastic relationship, amazing father. And had I known what I'm going to teach you today, I would have got there a lot faster. So here are the top 10 things I wish I knew in my 20s and 30s. Number one, you will not rise to your potential. You will fall to your standards, right? You don't get what you want. You get what you have to have. So I want you to think about every goal you've ever had in your life. Think about all the ones that you did not accomplish. Were they things that you had to have? Was it a must? Or just things that you kind of wanted? I already know the answer, and you know the answer. They were just things that you kind of wanted. They were good ideas, but you didn't have to have them. It was not a must, because if it was a must, you would have had those things. Think about it. Do you know that heroin addicts spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year? They find a way to get that heroin, that smack, white china, no matter what. When you gotta have something, you'll find a way, because they'll get sick. They'll get dope sick if they don't get it. They have to have it. They might end up doing some nefarious things to accomplish those goals. Robbing people, stealing, breaking into homes, sucking dick in alleys. I'm not saying you got to do all that to accomplish your goals. I'm saying that you need to really think about raising your standards. Do not set goals, set standards. So instead of saying, I want to make $10,000 a month, you say, I will not make less than $10,000 a month. I refuse for my income to remain under $10,000 a month. You get what I'm saying? When you do that, you will approach things with a whole different kind of energy, a whole different kind of veracity. But if it's just, yeah, man, I'm hoping I can do this. Man, I'm trying to get this. My students who I teach to grow their online fitness business, I do calls with them every week. And I do not let them say the word try. Motherfuckers will come on a call and say, yeah, I'm still trying to grow my... Try? We not fucking try babies. We don't try to do shit around here. We do it or die trying. That's the only context in which it's acceptable to use the word try. Is it a fucking standard, or is it just a good idea? Because if it's just a good idea, you're probably gonna fail. But if you set a standard and you refuse to have anything less than that, I promise you, you will win. The thing is, almost none of you have ever held a goal to that kind of standard. You've never held yourself to that kind of standard. That's why you fat now. That's why you broke now. It's not the Democrats or the Republicans keeping you broke. It ain't the fucking immigrants keeping you broke and fat. It ain't the Jews keeping you broke and fat. It's you not setting the standard for your own goddamn life high enough. And when my father shot himself in the head when I was 24, it changed things. I had to make a bunch of money to take care of myself, my family, my mom, my sister, her son, my grandma. And I started approaching things with a way different amount of intensity. And it took a while, it took a long time, but I got rich enough to take care of everyone and myself and live a great life. It wasn't until the standard changed. You got to take it from a good idea to a goddamn standard. If you do that, I promise you, you will win. But you won't win until you do that. Next thing I wish I knew in my 20s was confidence comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself. All right. Most people think that confidence comes from affirmations, feeling ready. No, motherfucker. That is not how it works. Every time I say what I'm about to say, some fucking dumbass says, nah, man, you should just have confidence in yourself. You should just have confidence in yourself. Your bitch ass up. You're confusing confidence with self-love. Love my son, but I don't have no confidence in him. I have so little confidence in him that I wouldn't leave him alone for the day. Hey man, you just hang out at the crib, don't get in no trouble. Of course not. In fact, I'd probably get arrested for that. The government doesn't even have confidence in a child. That don't mean you love them any less. Confidence comes from competence. And when you start keeping the promises that you make to yourself, you'll have confidence in yourself. You'll start to believe in yourself. But the reason you lack confidence now is because you make these promises to yourself all the time. You say you're going to do this. You say you're going to do that. You say you're going to follow your diet. You say you're going to work out. You say you're going to work on your business, but then you break these promises that you make to yourself. Sometimes nobody knows it but you. You're the only one who knows that you're out here fucking up, breaking these promises to yourself. And every time you do that, it chips away at your confidence. It chips away at your self-belief. It chips away at how much you like yourself. Because I want you to think about this. Imagine someone who you love is telling you every day, hey man, I'm gonna do this thing for you. Hey, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna do that for you. And they're telling you this every day, every day, every day. They keep saying they're gonna hold you down or do something for you. And they keep letting you down day after day after day after day after day after day. How much confidence would you have in that person? Probably very little. But more importantly, you probably start to dislike this person because he's fucking lying to you every day. You probably start to not actually like this person that much. That person is you. You're him. And that's why you don't have confidence. That's why you don't have confidence. And you don't want to say this out loud, but you don't like yourself as much as you should. And the reason you don't like yourself as much as you should, because you're not keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Yeah, you can bullshit yourself. You can try at least, or you can bullshit everyone else. But in your heart, you got to sit with yourself and you got to know that you're full of shit. You got to know that you don't deserve to be confident. The truth is, if you lack confidence, it's probably for a good reason. You probably haven't given yourself a reason to be confident in yourself. Well, but once you start keeping the promises you make to yourself, then what happens is you start to believe in yourself a little bit more. You do things that are difficult, but they are good for you. You start to like yourself more. You start to feel like you have integrity. You start to feel like a motherfucker who should be counted on. Not by anybody else, but by you, nigga. And then it starts to compound, it starts to stack. And when you start keeping the promises that you make to yourself consistently, what happens is your brain starts to believe in yourself. You start to believe in yourself, and it compounds over time. You can't just think your way to confidence. You can't believe your way to confidence. You act your way into confidence. You don't fake it till you make it. You have to be it till you believe it. You have to do it till you prove it. That's why it's very important to have self-integrity. The next thing I wish I knew when I was in my 20s is the people you're trying to impress usually don't matter, especially in the long term. What you really need to focus on is liking yourself, like I said before. Instead of trying to impress others, instead of trying to keep up with the Joneses and all that other shit, you need to learn to like yourself with what I said before. But, and this is critical, if you ever read my favorite book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, if you do want to impress people, you don't try to be impressive. You want to be interested in them, right? Be more inquisitive. When you start showing interest in people, they'll start to like you more. But if you really want to impress them, you impress them by being impressive. You don't have to put on a fucking show. Sometimes you can be around somebody, and I'm sure you've been there, and you can kind of just feel their energy. I know I'm at the risk of sounding like one of them white girls who wears hemp jewelry and collects crystals by her bed, but just fuck with me for a minute. You can feel people's energy when you're around them. And some people, when you're around them, you start to feel like there's fucking nothing you can't accomplish. You start to feel like, fuck, I'm the man. The way you can become that person is being that person. Being that person. And you do that by what? Keeping the promises you make to yourself. It's probably the most. If you don't get nothing from this video, there's nothing to improve your life more than keeping the promises you make to yourself. And if you stop worrying about what other people think, you will become more impressive to them if you are keeping the promises you make to yourself. Next thing I wish I knew when I was in my 20s is money does not change who you are. It exposes who you are. So I had a friend and we were growing up together, and we kind of started to drift apart during college because he started to become one of these guys who only thought about women. You ever meet these guys? He's just, no matter what's going on, it's like, where the hoes at? Where the hoes at? And that's fine within itself. I get it, especially as a young man. But he was doing it to a weird level. I have difficulty explaining it. It seemed to be his only thought. And we were just on different paths. We were just doing different shit because, you know, I got shit to do, right? I can't just be chasing hoes all the time. I got shit to do. I'm trying to get this degree and get some money at the same time. I'm working. All he cared about was getting hoes. He eventually graduated. He started making some good money, but money reveals who you are. So this motherfucker, you know, he's still that guy. Next thing you know, man, this motherfucker's on the news. Yeah, you guessed it. He got caught with some fucking hookers and cocaine. But that's who he was, right? He didn't do that because he had money. That's who this motherfucker always was. He was a hookers and cocaine kind of guy, right? Money reveals who you are. So I've met other people who were very nice, kind, generous people before they got money. When they got money, they became more of that person. They were able to give and be generous and do positive things in a way bigger way, in a more dramatic fashion. Money doesn't change you, man. It just reveals who you are. And I wouldn't even say just money, just power in general. I got sent away to military school for high school because I got in some trouble, fights, skipping school, shootouts, regular Southside Chicago kid shit. And I got sent away to military school. And in the military school, we had like ranks, and we would get different ranks. And the higher rank, you were in charge of other high school kids. And some of these kids, as soon as they got some rank, man, they started being fucking assholes. But the thing is, they was always assholes. These motherfuckers just couldn't be assholes because they weren't in a position to. But as soon as they got a power, it's like, oh, it's time to be an asshole. Same thing with money. If you was a bitch nigga or a jerk or a fucking loser, you get some money, you're gonna be even more of a loser. It reveals who you are. So it's very important to work on yourself. And here's another thing about money. Like my boy, who I mentioned earlier, the more successful you come, the more money you make, the more disciplined you have to become. Because it's kind of like a car that's moving really fast. You have to really hold on to the wheel when you're driving a car like that. And when you're going fast, you got to focus, right? When you're driving slow, you can one hand eating, drinking soda, talking to motherfuckers. You can do all types of shit when you're driving slow. But when you're driving fast, you might put both hands on the wheels. You might turn the fucking radio down when you're driving fast, right? Because you got to focus. Because one small turn can really derail you. That's kind of what money's like. Because if my boy, who I mentioned earlier, if he didn't get any money, he wouldn't have fucking got caught with the hookers, because he wouldn't have had money for hookers and cocaine. That's an expensive habit. And then if you get famous or like have some sort of notoriety, imagine me right now. If me and my girlfriend got into a fight and she beat me up, now she gonna go to jail. It's gonna be like news. Like Greg Doucette's gonna make another video about me getting beat up by my girlfriend. Well, he never made a video about that before. He's gonna make another video about me, and this time it's gonna be like, Brandon's got his ass beat worse than last time by his crazy Latina girlfriend. It's gonna be like news. But domestic abuse happens all the time and we don't hear about it. But because I have a certain amount of notoriety, it's news now. Someone at my son's school, one of the other children, may tell my man, your dad got beat up by a Dominican chick. It's fucking news at that point. That's why it's very important to work on yourself now. If you're not rich now, to work on yourself now, because if you're fucked up now and you get some money, you'll have way more opportunities to fuck your life up. And you can fuck your life up in way more dramatic fashion because now you got leverage. All right, let's keep going. Busy is often just procrastination with good PR, right? So, a lot of times people do like bullshit and they say they're busy, but it's not shit that's really gonna move the needle. So it could be something like answering emails, tweaking websites, organizing calendars. Like that shit is helpful, but you can spend a whole day doing that and not make no motherfucking money. Right? What you really need to be doing is probably sales calls, your workout, conversions, right? You guys probably do a lot of this shit just watching YouTube videos. Say, hey man, I'm working, I'm grinding, and motherfuckers just watching YouTube videos all day, right? Some of y'all right now, thinking that's me, thinking you fucking doing something. You passively watching YouTube videos, which is, it's cool, but it's like, it's not the thing that's gonna move the needle. I see that with a lot of entrepreneurs. When they first start, man, motherfuckers be all concerned about their logo. Man, what should my logo be? I see motherfuckers spend weeks on a logo. I see motherfuckers spend weeks on a name. And I'm like, bitch, nigga, that shit ain't gonna make you no money. Who cares what your name is? The fucking most profitable company of all time is a computer company named after a fruit. That shit don't make no damn sense. Imagine, you never heard of Apple before. Motherfuckers say, yeah, I'm thinking about starting a computer company. What are you gonna call it? Man, I'm gonna call it Apple, and I'm gonna put a fucking logo. My logo is gonna be a rainbow apple. Because initially it was a rainbow apple with a bite in it. That would be one of the dumbest shits I've ever heard. Or, man, I'm starting this internet website. Man, what you gonna call it, man? I'm gonna call that shit Google. Right? Who gives a fuck? Right? Who gives a fuck? It doesn't mean anything. What you need to be focusing on, if you're business, making money. Because until you fucking make sales, you ain't got a business. You got a hobby. You out here hobby maxing. You get what I'm saying? You really need to focus on the things that will move the needle in your business or in your life. Whatever your goal is, you got to figure out the things that will actually move you forward and focus on those things, because you can get busy doing shit that doesn't matter. Side note, this is why I hate when you motherfuckers be asking me about no fap or semen retention or any of the other nonsense, because that's fucking bullshit. Ain't nobody ever made no money no fapping, right? It's not the thing, man. You want to make money, you got to sell a product or service at a higher price than it costs you to deliver it. That's it. Doesn't matter how much you motherfucking touch yourself or not. Doesn't matter, man. Who gives a fuck? It's bullshit. Nonsense. I've read hundreds of books from successful entrepreneurs, a lot of them biographies, autobiography. Not one of them says, man, yo, no fap was the thing that really helped me get to fucking billions. Not one of them. Why? Because it's bullshit. But basically what I'm saying is you can major in the minors and end up not being successful at all. All right. Focus on the things that matter. All right. Next thing I wish I knew in my 20s, yo, man, your body keeps receipts, right? You know, in your 20s, you can do a lot of things to your body, pause, that are almost abusive and get away with it because you're young. But as you age, a lot of that shit will stick with you. So if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not taking care of your body, just in general, it's going to start catching up with you. People start looking super old, super early. And it's because they're not getting enough sleep. They're too stressed out. They're abusing their bodies, you know, with partying, clubs, drinking, recreational drugs, shit of that nature. All that shit starts to catch up with you over a while. And it can manifest itself in you just like being ugly. You can be out here ugly maxing. Some of y'all ugly maxing, but not on purpose, just because you like smoking cigarettes, staying up late, getting drunk and high all the time. You got to start taking care of your body now. All right. Because once you start taking care of your body now, it's going to serve you well as you get older. For example, because I took care of my body really when I was in my 30s. I mean, I always lifted weights. I always ate right. But in my 30s, early 30s, that's when I stopped smoking. I smoked cigarettes from age 14 to like age 30. All right, that's when I stopped smoking cigarettes. That's when I stopped doing all recreational drugs. That's when I stopped drinking. And I dialed in my diet a lot more. Right. That's when I really got even more serious about my diet. And I really believe it's helped me prolong biological youth. Right. I'm 43 years old, but my health is perfect. I get blood work about every 90 days and my shit is perfect. Last time the doctor was like, "Whoa," he was looking at something in my blood work. I don't remember exactly what it was. He was like, "Oh, wow, you must never get sick." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I have not been sick in 11 years. I have not had a cold, not had the flu. My girlfriend had COVID 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. I wasn't taking no precautions. We was making love while she would have to stop to blow her nose during sexual intercourse. And I'm a gentleman. So I just stopped, I just stopped stroking for a minute. I ain't take it out or nothing. I just stopped smoking. It's too much information. But she's sneezing on me with COVID. And I still ain't catch it. When you really take care of your body, it starts to compound in a positive way as well. And, some people say, I hear sometimes that I look younger than 43. Some people may disagree, but I'm definitely in better shape and I'm more active than most 43-year-old guys. Right? It's because I actually took care of my body in my youth. All right. The next thing I wish I knew in my 20s is that, yo, man, nobody's coming to save you. And that's good news. That's really good news. And the reason why that's good is because I have a family member who I won't mention his name. For whatever reason, he lived like a really sheltered life. His mama did everything for him, made sure if he was in any trouble, she took care of him. His dad wasn't around and I wasn't around either, right? I got sent to military school and I went to college. And his mom would just baby them and like wouldn't let him make no mistakes. It wouldn't let him fail. And as a result, this guy's like in his 30s now and he's super just soft. Like soft. He hasn't had the opportunity to fail, right? Or really experience hardships. But the hardships are what make you tough. It makes you more resilient. It's kind of like when you lift weights. When you first start lifting weights, they hurt your hands. Hopefully you're not using gloves. If you're using gloves in the weight room, then I hope they at least match your purse, sweetheart, right? But if you're a man, you started lifting weights, initially it hurts. But then what happens, man? You start building calluses. And then it doesn't hurt anymore. You can lift more, right? Same thing, I started playing guitar, like it would hurt my hands, my fingertips. But that pain forced me to build calluses on Another example would be your muscles. When you lift weights, you put a lot of stress under the muscle. It's painful. Lactic acid builds up. Your muscle fibers start to rip, but then they grow back stronger. You are the same way mentally. You become mentally stronger the same way these calluses on your hands become stronger. The same way your muscles go strong by being able to go through the hardships, by going through the trials and tribulations. Some of y'all are going through something right now. You're going through a difficult time as we speak. I'm going to tell you something that I've realized that helps me every time I'm going through a challenge. To myself, this won't be the last time I experience hardships. 100% it won't be the last time. It might not even be the worst time. So what I'm going through now will make me stronger for when I go through the next challenge, which may be even more difficult to this. But because I went through this one, I'll be better equipped to handle that. Or the next one, it might not be as difficult as this, so I'll be able to breeze through it because I went through this. It's a reframe I use. I think it's a good reframe for you to have every time you're going through any challenges. And here's the thing, if you're not going through a challenge now, you will. The next one's right around the corner, 100%. Everyone you know is going to die, right? So you're going to have to deal with those things. Nobody's life is an unbroken boulevard of green lights. All you're going to have to deal with challenges, heartbreak, financial issues, people you know are going to die or get hurt or be sick. All your pets are going to die, 100%. It's like you're going to have to deal with these things. And every time you go through one, you got to think, okay, this is going to make me stronger. For me, that helps. That reframe actually helps me a lot. All right, the next thing you need to know that I wish I knew when I was in my 20s, your environment is more powerful than your willpower. Your environment will play a huge role in what you accomplish. For example, do you think it would be easier to focus on something you have to do in a library or in a strip club? If you had to get some work done, you got those two venues, a library or a strip club. I don't care how disciplined you are. It's going to be very difficult to focus on your work, like do accounting or something, in the strip club. Traditionally, people struggle in those with that endeavor. Where is it going to be easier to get an erection? The library or the strip club? Some of you perverts have had erections in libraries, but I'm talking about the general population, right? The strip club, right? Your environment plays a huge role in your success. It's more important than willpower, because willpower, I want you to think about it like the battery in your phone or some sort of battery. You start off with a full charge each day, but throughout the day, you use up some of the willpower that's in your willpower battery. You use it up. And after a while, it's all used up, right? This is why people make bad decisions at night. This is why at night is probably when you fall off your diet. Those of you guys who have trouble sticking to your diet, it's probably easier for you in the morning, right? But at night, oh, I deserve this. Because what happens is you're out of willpower. You start to run out during the day. Like, that's a real thing. There's a great book on the subject it's actually called Willpower. You only have so much of it throughout the day. So you want to conserve it. A way you can conserve the energy is not putting yourself in a position where you have to use a lot of it. So if you are trying to work in an environment where there's a lot of distraction, where there's a lot of bullshit, or even if the room is just super messy, you can do it, but you'll have to use more willpower. But the thing is, you only have so much each day. Everybody, David Goggins, Jocko, all humans, you're going to start off with some willpower each day, and it's going to diminish. What you want to do is don't waste it. So you want to set your environment up where you can win. You got to set your environment up for success. For example, when I have something like really important to work on, I'll put my phone in the bathroom. I keep a fucking charger in there, and I'll charge my phone in the bathroom. This way I'm not distracted. Because if it's right here, if the phone is right here, then I'm gonna have to use some of my willpower to not fuck with it. Does that make sense? In the house, there's no junk food. Because if I look at the fucking junk food, yeah, I'm not going to eat it for sure. But I'm gonna use up some of my willpower fighting the temptation. But if the temptation is gone, I don't have to worry about it. Now, I'm not saying I would eat junk food if it was here. I'm not a bitch, nigga. But it will take some discipline to not do it. I'd rather not use the discipline. I really believe, this is going to be controversial, but I believe that discipline is for amateurs. You really need to set up your environment where you don't need discipline to succeed, because discipline means you have to do something you don't want to do typically. Right? But if you take away the options, you don't need discipline. It's the concept of friction. I remember when I first started waking up early, when I first started working hard to wake up early, I would hit my alarm and go back to sleep, hit the snooze button and go back to sleep. You guys, some of y'all did that this morning. Some of you motherfuckers still in bed. It's motherfucking 6 p.m., man. You ain't got out of bed yet. You just kept hitting that motherfucking for 12 hours. You've been hitting the snooze button. What I did was I started putting my phone on the other side of the room when I went to sleep. That forced me to get up and get out of bed. Right now I'm out of bed. All right, now I do it. It doesn't take as much willpower because I'm already out of bed. And then I'd have my workout shit ready to go, laid out. Pre-workout mixed up from the night before. I just put the fucking shit on, take the pre-workout. There's no friction involved. There's nothing stopping me. In fact, I made it frictionless, so I didn't need as much willpower to do it. You can do that with everything in your life. Anything you want to abstain from, you want to add friction to it. Like, for example, I haven't eaten ice cream maybe in 10 years, but ice cream used to be like my favorite thing. If there was a thing of ice cream, I'm going to eat the whole thing in one sitting for sure. 100%. I love this shit. Guess what's not in my house? Ice cream. None of it, right? Yeah, sure. I can call up Uber Eats and have some guy named Pedro bring the shit over here, right? But that's introducing friction. It's an extra step. It's more friction than walking to the fridge and grabbing the spoon, right? And the more friction I add to it, the less likely it is for me to do it. Now, even if there was ice cream here, I wouldn't eat it, but I would have to use my willpower not to. I don't want to have to do that. I think that having to use discipline is for amateurs. You need to set shit up where discipline is not necessary. That's very important. One more thing you should know about environment. Your environment doesn't just count for the things around you or your physical environment. It's also the people you're around. That's very important. So there's a study here, and this study is going to blow your mind. I suggest you read it on your own time. You could just search this on PubMed. But basically, in this study, they showed that if you have a friend who becomes obese, you have a 40% chance of becoming obese yourself. And this was a 32-year-long study. If just one of your friends becomes obese, you have a 40% chance of becoming obese. You become like the people you're around. The people around you can influence you just as much as your environment. For example, let's say you are a recovering crackhead. Well, it's going to be way more difficult for you to abstain from crack if you chilling at the crack house. If you were a recovering sex addict, it'd be way more difficult for you to get over that if you chilling at the whorehouse. Your environment plays a role. Now, back to the study. If your friend gets fat, you have a 40% chance of getting fat yourself. That's astonishing. But here's where it gets crazier. According to the study, if you have a friend who has a friend, a third party that you don't even know, that person gets fat. According to the research, you have a 20% chance of getting fat. And you don't even know that motherfucker. This is real shit. Go ahead and read the study on your own. Man. This is real shit, right? So the people you're around really plays a bigger role than I think a lot of people take it. The next thing I wish I knew in my 20s, focus is a superpower. You actually don't need more time. You probably need less distractions. A lot of people, they always tell me, man, I don't have time. And I say, man, let me see your calendar. And it's blank. Here's the thing, guys. I can look at your calendar and tell your future. I can tell your future if I look at your calendar. For example, let me show you mine. I plan every hour of every day in my calendar. This is what it looks like on a month view. Bro, once you start doing that, I promise, guarantee, do it for a week. It'll be the most productive week of your life. Now, it may be difficult for you to start doing it initially because you're going to mess up. You're going to have difficulty allocating the appropriate amount of time to the appropriate things, but you'll get better at it. Week 2, you'll get even better. Week 3, you're going to get even better. Right? Once you start doing that, your whole life will change. I have never seen someone do that for an extended amount of time and they not achieve massive success. The thing is, when you have something blocked out of your calendar, you need to be doing only that. So when I'm with my son, I'm only doing that. I'm not doing shit else but kicking it with my son. When I'm on a date with my girl, I'm not out here like, unless it's an emergency, but for the most part, I'm not like doing other shit on my phone. Well, it's the NBA playoffs now. So the last 2 dates we went on, I had to, that's the only exception. NBA playoffs. I'm black, man. We got to go to a restaurant where the game's on and I need to sit at a table in viewing distance of the game. But under normal circumstances, it's just me and you, baby. I'm not thinking about nothing else. It's just me and you, baby. I don't want to see nothing else in this room. I got on blinders. And we're going to get back to that after the finals are over. But, you know, when I'm working and I'm focused on those things. But everything gets priority. So when people say, oh, man, I would do this, but I got school or work. I'll be like, nah, man, you got enough time. You just don't plan your day right. You just lack focus. There's 168 hours in every week. If you sleep 8 hours a night, that's 56 hours. That's going to leave you with 112 hours left, right? You work 40 of those hours. You got 72 hours each week left. Shut your bitch ass up. That's almost 2 work weeks of shit you could be doing. But the problem is you guys aren't fucking planning every hour a day in your calendar. So you lack focus. You don't know what to do. You have all the shit you want to do, but it's not organized in a time-based format. So you don't know what to do when. You have all these things you want to do. And then now you feel lost because it's not choreographed. You got to start planning every hour of every day. If you do that, I promise you. The last thing I wish I knew when I was in my 20s and 30s is money makes all of your decisions. Sometimes people try to downplay the importance of financial success, and they might believe what they say or it just might be cope, but it doesn't matter because it's wrong. Money makes all your decisions. You don't live in the best house available. You live in the best house you can afford. If you take care of your parents, you don't do the best for your parents. You do the best you can afford. If you got kids, you don't send them to the best schools. You're not doing the best for your kids. You're doing the best you can afford. And it's based off how much money you have. Some of y'all will be watching this on different devices if you had more money. You'd be wearing different clothes. You'd be in a different place. Even if you really care about spirituality or your religion, you don't donate as much as you can afford to your church. Money makes all your decisions, 100% of them, or at least it influences it. And I really found out how important money was when my father, he blew his brains out. He shot himself in the head when I was 24. And the main thing I had to do was fucking start hustling, take care of everyone in the family and really come up. And that's when I vowed to never be in a position again where someone who I loved needed my help and I wasn't in a position to help him. Because I really feel like there is an amount of money that if I had it, my dad would have made a different decision. I still have a dad. I don't know what that number is, but I know it exists. I said that to a therapist once and she said, "Oh, you can't think like that." And I'm like, "Bitch, shut your bitch ass up. Listen, ho, that shit is true. I know you're trying to make me feel better and you're trying to infiltrate my mind like Professor Xavier and shit, but nothing you say will mean that that's not true. There is an amount of money that if I had it, I'd still have a dad." So I vowed to never be in that position again. I started working 4 jobs at the time. Then I started online training. That's how I made my first million as an online trainer. And now I teach other people how to make money as online trainers. I've trained over 15,000 students, helped them grow successful online fitness businesses. And yeah, this is the knowledge based off my most successful students. I want you guys to have that. It's 100% free. All right.